She was just 8 years old, walking to Bible camp in her flip-flops, excited for a summer day with friends. But somewhere along the short path in Marple Township, Pennsylvania, she vanished. No struggle, no witnesses, just silence. And for decades, the disappearance of Gretchen Harrington haunted a town built on faith and familiarity. And when the truth finally came out, it wasn't a stranger lurking in the shadows. It was someone the town knew. It was someone the town trusted. This is the story of Gretchen Harrington, a story of faith, betrayal, and justice that was delayed. This is a little bit of a tough one, right? And as always, viewer and listener discretion is advised. There is going to be some adult-style details in here, but whenever it's one with the kids, being parents, even not being a parent, anytime a child loses their life, especially to someone that the town knew and the town trusted, it's a little bit extra tough, isn't it? And obviously, the voice you're hearing, it's me, it's Matt, and joining me as always is the beautiful, the wonderful, the still thawing out from the cold day, Dun Queen, Meg.
Hello.
Ella, why didn't you just turn British?
I don't know.
Weird. Did you have beans and toast for lunch or something?
I was actually thinking of the little caterpillar guy on Labyrinth.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Randomly?
Yeah.
There's some things that go in your brain that would make you go, huh? Yeah. Cold one today. We had a doubleheader softball game in the 48-degree weather with 12-mile-an-hour winds and lots of rain, and it sucked.
But
our
day was shortened.
Our day was, well, it's the same amount of hours.
But I mean, we could have been outside much longer.
True. Much longer. Yes, the oldest, their game did get canceled, but now it extends into Monday, where we're double booked, and hopefully we'll get that straightened out.
But I think the weather's supposed to be nice.
Hey-o, don't jinx it.
Okay, sorry.
Anyways, hopefully you guys are listening and enjoying your weather whenever it is, and I say we get right into this. What do you think? All right. Well, we're going to travel back, Meg, to August of 1975, and I do believe, if my memory that doesn't always work well is working, that last week's episode on Circleville, Ohio, I believe was 1975 when it started. So we got Ohio, Pennsylvania. That's just what I call Pennsylvania. I don't know why, because it's boring and flat, just like Kentucky. No offense. I think Kentucky really only has horses and bourbon, right? Or whiskey. I don't know.
Tornadoes.
Lots of tornadoes. But yeah, 75, I'm pretty sure. Pennsylvania, Ohio, just pandemonium in both of them. So August 15th, 1975. Gretchen Harrington was a bright and kind 8-year-old girl. That morning, she left her home on Lawrence Road in Marple Township to walk to Vacation Bible School, which was being held at the Reformed Presbyterian Church of Marple. I'm saying that right?
I would say Marble. It's kind of a cool name.
I know. I keep looking at it like I want to say maple. Like, hey.
Or marble.
Or marble, but it's Marple.
I like it.
I like it too. I want to name our next animal Marple.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the wrong answer. The correct answer is no more animals. We have more animals than in the local SPCA. What?
Well, I had a dream last night that you had a dog named Ripley.
Ooh, guess what? You could believe it or not. See what I did there?
It was like your walking buddy.
Really?
It was pretty cool looking.
What did it look like?
His name was Ripley.
What did he look like?
Kind of had like wiry, shaggy hair, and it was black and white spotted.
Kind of like an Amish dog?
Kind of, but not really. More like, I don't know. I don't know. Kind of like a Benji dog.
It'd be cool to have a walking dog, because we have 2 dogs that aren't great walking dogs.
No. One's
got a bad hip, he's 2. The other one, he's a miserable little boy. Yeah. But anyways, Gretchen, her father was, I'm assuming was at this point, because it's 75, probably a little bit older, was at the time, could potentially still be alive. I'm sorry, I should probably know that. It was Reverend Harold Harrington. That's a fun name to say. Harold Harrington. Double H.
I do like that. Rolls off the tongue.
Right? And he was the pastor at Trinity Church, was alternated hosting Bible schools with a Reformed Presbyterian church. But Gretchen, she never arrived at the Reformed Presbyterian church. You know what I heard about churches, Meg?
What?
I heard that they were originally, again, conspiracy theory. And if you want more conspiracy theories, check out the Triple T podcast right here in the Beer Law Studio. But I heard that churches were meant originally to be like enjoyed, to be used to visit in short like visits. And then the organs and stuff like that, with those deep organs that when they played them, you could feel it for city blocks. And they were actually healing centers. So something with the frequencies, and I think you've heard in music, that certain frequencies can actually heal you. Yes. So with those deep organs, they were actually designed to heal you short term. And there was like one of the last places that there was documentation, I don't know exactly in the world, that this person had a lot of medical issues, went there, still had the original deep organs, it was played or whatever, and then for days after, all of the ailments were gone. But because it was a healing and you needed more of it, they did come back. It's not like an all-time fix, but that's what they were there. They were thinking, you go there, short terms, boom, get some healing, get out of there. And then whoever controls the narrative removes the organs, and then they turn it into this whole church, make money, nonprofit, believe in this. But that's what I heard. And I thought that was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Back to Pennsylvania churches, who probably had deep organs and everything. Obviously, Gretchen never arrives. Panic starts to spread. And you have to imagine that Pennsylvania at this time is a lot like a lot of other small towns where, you don't lock your vehicles, you don't lock your doors, everything's safe until it's not.
Mm-hmm.
They start making calls, volunteers, they start to scour the area, police, neighbors, church members. They search for any trace of her. Unfortunately, this is where it gets extra sad. October 14th, 1975, just 2 months later, her skeletal remains were discovered in Ridley Creek State Park. Whoa. That's weird. What did you say the dog's name was?
Ripley.
Dang. All right.
It's close.
All right.
Ridley's cool too, though.
Ridley's pretty cool. All right. That just threw me for a loop. I was like, whoa. Two different names. Anyways, the cause of the death was unfortunately blunt force trauma to the head. Just like so many times, Meg, in the 70s and 80s. What happens to the case?
It was a cold case, and the family fights
for justice. It seems to happen over and over and over. And we're not out saying that we could do a better job. We're not out here bashing the police and everything. Technology, not nearly as good as it is today. It's about 50 years later. We've evolved a lot. And, they've evolved a lot. I mean, you rarely see people get away with murders these days, thankfully. But it's tough. It was a tough time in history where these things were happening and people were getting away with it. Mm-hmm. The disappearance obviously stuns the small community. I'm saying a small community. I feel like it's a small community. I have no idea. It could be a very big community. I don't really know anything about Marple.
Yeah, me neither.
Should we phone in our Pennsylvania correspondent?
Yeah.
Good. I don't have one. But either way,
okay.
Marple. The disappearance stuns them. Gretchen was the daughter of a respected pastor. Her walk to church was familiar and routine. She's walking to Bible school. You know what I mean? Should be safe. Should be able to walk anywhere in the streets of Pennsylvania and Marple Township. But it wasn't like it. And what had seemed like an ordinary day turned into tragedy. Suspicion, it lingers. No one had answers. And for decades, the Harrington family lived in the shadow of uncertainty. Her father continued preaching just miles, Meg, from where her body was found. There's no major leads. There's no arrests. There's no resolution. Why are you laughing? This is sad.
I'm sorry. I looked up the size.
It was a bad time to laugh.
I'm sorry.
I'm over here saying they got nobody. They got no arrest. There's no resolution. What's Marple?
10.5 square miles.
It's a pretty small place. Does it say the population?
I didn't see that yet. What is the... Oh, that's not...
Marple Township in Pennsylvania, 10.5 miles. It can't be a very big township. And I mean, at whatever the population is today, you have to imagine it had grown. Although the place where human lives, we looked up the other day, it is decreasing in population every year. That's not good.
According to the 2020 census, approximately 24,214 people.
That's a lot of people in 10 miles. It's a big place.
Well, that's how big it says it is.
A pretty big place. Okay. All right. Marple's pretty big. Sorry about that. My assumption, you know what they say about an assumption? Makes an ass out of you and me. And it just did. All right. Well done, research.
I'm sorry that it was the wrong moment.
It's okay.
It just made me giggle. It seemed like it was like really small.
Yeah. Interesting. Educational show as well. 5 decades later, Meg, after no arrests, no leads, no resolution, no giggles, a break came. Not from forensic evidence, but from a witness's memory and a potential confession. Because in early 2023, a woman contacted the Pennsylvania State Police. She told investigators that as a child, she kept a diary, which kind of a dying art these days, isn't it?
Yeah,
a lot of kids are keeping. You know, a lot of kids that are keeping a diary.
I do actually.
Okay, I just thought it would be a dying art, but I like it.
I do think a lot of kids do.
It's good.
I feel like it's more younger.
Mm-hmm. Before they get cell
like
phones.
High school, it fades out, but
okay,
I think like journaling is coming back for adults as well. Good,
I like it. Pen to paper, I like it. But in this diary, there's some things that I do not like. It would not be a good time to laugh coming up, because she wrote in the diary, this person that kept the diary, that her friend's father, David Zanstra, who was a pastor, Meg, of the Reformed Presbyterian Church, groped her during a sleepover in the 70s. She also remembered that he had been acting strangely around the time that Gretchen disappeared. I'm not exactly sure what, strangely is. I have to imagine a pastor at this time who was doing things to kids is probably strange all of the time. So then police, they track him down, who was 83 at the time of 2023, was living in Marietta, Georgia. Not anywhere near Pennsylvania, but closer to Kentucky. And they question him on July 17, 2023. At first, he denied it. But then all of a sudden, the same day, he confesses. According to authorities, Zanstra admitted to offering Gretchen a ride to Bible camp that morning. But instead, he drove her to a secluded area in Ridley Creek State Park. He attempted to grope her. When she resisted, she tried to flee. He then struck her in the head with his fists, killing Gretchen. He left her body in the woods and then just returned to church as if nothing had happened. That same day, he led opening prayers for the children attending Bible school. A, B, C, and disgusting. This is a man of the Lord. A man that people look up to, listen to, and he kills a child and acts like nothing happened. My first question is, was this the first? I wonder if there's any other murders. I didn't see anything that there's any other murders, but I mean, if he could just kill a kid and leave it and then just go right back, there's something ain't right. It doesn't sound like a first-time offender doing that. And how many times does people in the church do terrible acts to kids? It's disgusting. Ugh. July 18th, 2023. He's arrested. He's charged with criminal homicide, kidnapping, and other related offenses. They threw the book at him, rightfully so. For the community, it was kind of a mixed bag of obviously shock, a little bit of validation, and a lot of confusion. And I wonder if it's one of those things, too, that how many times do you see, like, oh, that person was arrested? And it could be a neighbor, could be somebody like that, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. I could see that. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, yeah, well, he did that. And then all these people come forward, and it's like, if he would have came forward, this person could have spent so much more time in jail instead of being free, walking amongst all of you as a murderer and a groper, and just a terrible piece of garbage.
And it was her journal, her diary?
It was I didn't put the name into it, but it was somebody else in the area that somebody else had kept a diary from what I saw.
Documented it.
Yeah, and kind of documented, and then something it's just a weird thing. Thankfully, I guess they came forward, but it was just something came up that day, in that diary when they read back on it. And just, hey, I remember this. Zanstra had been a trusted spiritual leader. For years, he preached, he counseled families, he stood beside the grieving parents, all while harboring a devastating secret. The Pennsylvania State Police described the case as one of the most disturbing that they had ever seen. Reactions were mixed. Some expressed disbelief. Others remembered subtle signs and feelings of unease from years ago. There it is. Told you. The Harrington family expressed gratitude to the police for never giving up, and for the witness who came forward after all this time. I have to imagine if I'm a man of the God, and I find out as a man of the God that another man of the God killed my kid, I'm not going to be a man of the God for too much more long. Somebody's going to get knuckled up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I'm not a man of the God, so I guess I should never be there. I am an ordained minister. I could do a wedding if anybody wants me to. I'd be good at it again. Although I think of the 2 or the 3 weddings that I've done, it ended in divorce already, so maybe you don't want to hire me to do your wedding. It ain't my fault. I'm just out there putting on a show. Speaking of the show, his confession tore a hole in the community's history. It was more than just a murder. It was a betrayal of trust, faith, and innocence. He continued preaching for years after the crime, including in Plano, Texas, and later retired peacefully in Georgia, which sucks that he was just out and about. But now he faces justice in Pennsylvania in the courtroom. Whether he will live to see trial, it's uncertain, but the truth has finally surfaced. For the Harrington family, it's been nearly 50 years of pain. Gretchen could have been 58 at the time of that. Mm-hmm. But they finally have a name, they finally have a confession, and hopefully, for their sake, a little bit of some closure. The Gretchen Harrington's case is a sobering reminder that no case is ever truly closed. Justice, it can come from the most unexpected places. And in this case, it came from a childhood diary and a courageous woman willing to speak up decades later. But, just like many of these cases do, it does raise some pretty serious questions. How many predators hide behind titles of trust? How often do communities ignore these red flags and just trust men, women, people of power and stature? And how many cold cases are waiting for just one person to remember, to report, to read a diary, just to reopen the door? The story also reinforces the importance of listening to survivors, no matter how much time has passed. Their memories can hold the key to the resolution. And for investigators, it's a call to persistence, to keep asking, keep searching. More importantly, keep hoping. And sadly, Meg, sometimes justice just takes time. Mm-hmm. But it's never too late. Gretchen, she deserved a full life. She deserved a childhood. She deserved a future. But instead, she just got silence. Until now, they got the guy. Man, 50 years. It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. How old was she?
8 years old. It's kind of wild, too, that they were able to find her so quickly within a couple of months. Like, a lot of the times later, they find them, years later. But I guess if he did it and just left it, unbelievable. I hate it. I hate all that. Obviously, this has been the Yore Town podcast. We can't thank you enough for listening. This story moved you. Maybe you could consider supporting cold case units advocating for survivors, remembering that sometimes the past does speak, if we're willing to listen. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe. Meg, keep asking those hard questions.
You got it.
That was fun. That's all I got. Anything else?
Nope.
Not the story was fun, but hanging out with you, doing the Yore Town podcast, I truly enjoy. What do you think? Same time, same place next week?
You got it.
All right. It's a date. That's all we got.
It's the only time someone's not saying mom.
Mom. Ugh. All right, let's get back in there and see what the dogs have destroyed.
Let's see.
Old Ripley. Believe it or not, we're out of here. We'll see you next week.
Good one. I see what you did there.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.